I want to show you again the first picture that we have from inside the cathedral. There it is. And obviously, that cathedral is not something anyone is going to be able to go into for a long time. But these are the first images that we have, and you can still see that heat and fire there at the top of the arches. Of course, it's impossible to know the full extent of the damage right now. That's the bottom line. Tom Foreman is out front to give us a sense of how big the fire is, the best that you can tell us right now. Tom, I mean, you have hundreds of firefighters who are working under incredibly difficult circumstances, very dangerous circumstances.
Yeah, and this wasn't an easy fire to get to either, Aaron. Those pictures are just stunning you were showing a minute ago here. Look, there are 9 different bridges that lead to Ile de la Cité, which is in the middle of the River Seine. It's an island, and they had to get through that in rush hour traffic to try to reach the cathedral. And bear in mind, the height was a big issue, too. We believe from all the images that the fire started somewhere around the base of this spire in the middle, and then it shot up that spire. This tip right up there, that's a football field above the ground, so you get a sense of how high they were having to work. So what was underneath all of this as it spread to the entire roof? Well, we know that underneath was, as your previous guest noted, extraordinary treasures, a beautiful, soaring, open space. There were, in certain areas here, like the area called the choir, really intricate and beautiful carving. So there was a lot of wood inside this stone building to feed the fire. There were also other things that would draw a lot of attention to people here. For example, the organ. This was last renovated in a big way in 1730, but it's older than that. It has more than 8,000 pipes, 5 keyboards. We don't really know the fate of the organ at this point. One of the most famous musical instruments in the world. And, of course, the rose windows, just mentioned a moment ago. About 13 million tourists a year come, and this is one of the main things that draws them. These extraordinary pieces of stained glass, some of the best you'll find anywhere on the planet, Aaron.
And that's just some of the history, Tom, of what's inside that building that, of course, the president of France had just said is, the heart and soul of France. Obviously, it's a Catholic cathedral. It's a religious building, but it is much, much more than that.
Oh, yeah, there's a reason this is a World Heritage Site. Remember, this is where Napoleon became an emperor. This is where Joan of Arc started on her path to becoming a saint. This is where so many giant world events, world wars, swirled around. And there are paintings, and there are drawings, and there are architectural plans that were all stored here. Notably, there is also this. You may have heard people talk about the crown of thorns. This is a religious relic which true believers believe is the crown worn by Christ on his way to crucifixion. Imagine the importance of this relic during this Easter season. And beyond all that, there is still at least some positive news. As your guest mentioned, maybe things are being saved here. We know that more than a dozen priceless statues were removed as part of this renovation just last week, Aaron.